my name is Sidiso Munareng. I'm studying Bachelor of Education fourth year, and I'm the current chairperson of House Tirisano. As I have said, I'm the chairperson of the house, and I'm also in charge of discipline and the tradition of the house. So basically, my portfolio is overseeing all the other portfolios with the help of my two vices, but making sure that everything is intact, and as well as where the discipline is concerned for the house, ensuring that discipline procedures are done properly, everything is done properly, and also as a communique between tax rights and the house at large. So when we started at the beginning, it was very nice. It's always nice. But then as time goes by, that real work hits. So the beginning of the term was nice, announcing the HCs, conducting the interviews, those privileges, they are very nice to do. But then when it starts to get off, that's where things become more tense. Right. So as we know, everything in life has challenges. So leadership is no exception. So the challenges that I mostly faced was competence and perseverance. So it was hard to persevere, especially towards the end of the term, because the fuel has just run out. So then competence with regards to my house committee members, we had to follow up on each and every house member. So it's a bit tough to do that. So when you look at this one, he does his job, then the other one slacks. When you go to the one that slacks, the other one is improving. So it's just that competency and perseverance, that's all. Then, as far as solving them is concerned, this is where I made use of my vices, knowing very well that they oversee a specific portfolio. So if I oversee my vices and they oversee their portfolios, then it becomes much more easy. So to the next person who will be having my portfolio as chairperson, the advice I'd give is that be consistent, persevere, and know your duties as a chairperson. Don't do people's duties, do your duties and follow what you need to do. Then everything will be intact. And make sure that you force your PC members to do their work and to stick to their plans of actions.
My name is Innocent Koza. I'm doing my third year in education. My portfolio is sports and marketing. As I've said that my portfolio is sports and marketing, it's more like I'm responsible for all the sports activities that is happening here in Rest and also to market the house at large. What I can say, it was overwhelming since I was new in the office and every surrounding around me was new. It's more like I was in a new environment. So I had to make sure that I work close with my team and seek help where I can get it so that I'll pull through all my tasks that I had for the year. Thank you. Challenges, I can say that they didn't tell me that HC has a lot of work, but eventually when I get there, I saw that there's a lot of work, admin, and so on. So, but I tried by all means that I push and put more effort to overcome all the challenges that I faced throughout my term. What I can say to the incoming sports HC is that every time you need to manage your time, since this work can be daunting at some points and it also requires a lot of effort, but you need to stay focused and push and make sure that you execute all your work in due time. Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Thabo Khoza, a third-year student, Bachelor of Education at the University of Pretoria, and I hold the portfolio of Vice Chairperson in Wellbeing. My duties as the well-being is to be there for my team and ensure that the well-being of each and every individual of the house is well taken care of, and ensure that I provide a direction to every problem that they may be encountering. One of my duties was to be a role model, an inspiration to ensure that the house remains motivated and determined and strive for every goal they aspire to reach at all times by being there for them. Thank you. When I started, it was very overwhelming as I was holding the portfolio of internal projects. So due to some reasons, I had to transition and hold the portfolio of vice well-being. So it was a lot of work to transition from internal to executive position, but I did my best to ensure that I do my level best to ensure that the well-being of the house takes a priority and at the top. One of the challenges which I faced as the vice well-being of the house was ensuring that as being a vice well-being during a pandemic was very hard, as we needed to ensure that hygiene, people sanitize, wear their masks to ensure that we do not have a COVID case in our residence. That was one of the challenges, but we managed to prevail and everyone was safe and followed the protocol that we put in place to ensure that we are safe. Funny story, I'll still be holding the position of Vice Chairperson in Well-being. And the advice that I'd give to myself and the other incoming Vice Well-being is that never limit yourself. Do your best, be available, support the team, and ensure that you are there for each and every one, because their functionality depends on how well your portfolio does, because at the end of the day, their well-being takes a priority. Thank you.
Everybody, my name is Tabiso Shai, and I am a second year Bachelor of Education student at the University of Pretoria. The portfolio I held was WAG and Community Engagement, and the sub-portfolio of Facilities. With regards to WAG and Community Engagement, this portfolio includes giving out to the community and the house being a member of the community, giving to those who are less fortunate than we are, and helping the members of the house who are less fortunate, and just being there for the members of the house and assisting them in anything that they may need. In the beginning, it was very scary for me to have the portfolio of WAG. I didn't know what I would have to do, and I didn't know how I would be able to handle the portfolio. But with the help of my team and the former RAG HC, Mr. Cruz Maponya, I was able to handle the position and do my best to ensure the success of the WAG portfolio during our term. In the beginning, having the WAG portfolio was very scary for me because I did not know how I would be able to handle it. But with the help of the team and the former WAG HC, Mr. Tsidiso Munarem, who was our current chairperson, I was able to maneuver the portfolio and achieve the goals that I wanted to achieve within the portfolio itself. I faced a lot of challenges as a result of the pandemic. We weren't able to have as many of the events that we wanted to, including our wedding, but I tried my best to ensure that at least a few of the events that were part of WAG were able to take place, like the WAG of Hope weekend we participated in, and our proposal and such events. So I did my best to overcome the challenges and just make sure that WAG was a success for our term. The advice I would give to the person who will hold the WAG portfolio would be to plan your events well and to always lean on your team for support and for help, and never be afraid to seek advice for anything that you may want to do or any events that you may want to have. Your team is your best support and is your best ally and is the reason that you will succeed. So never be afraid to ask your team for help and just do your best to ensure that WAG is a success.
Hello, my name is Butsa Komboeni and I'm a third year education student at the University of Pretoria. I held a portfolio of Secretariat. Secretariat of the House. I dealt with the administrative duties of the House, organizing House meetings and keeping note of House meetings, House committee meetings, and welcoming residents back to the residence space and ensuring that they have rooms and ensuring that the basic administration of the House is proper. It was a bit overwhelming but rewarding because we were working during the intense lockdown, and the main mode of communication was via email or ClickUp, and that put a lot of pressure on my office. Equally important, the other portfolios had day offs because they couldn't do much and I had to do most of the work, so it was a bit challenging, but eventually they started working and I was able to support them in everything that they did. As the main mode of communication with the House, some of the challenges included not reaching most of the House members, but eventually we managed to work our way around that by having WhatsApp group chats and ensuring that each and every resident gets an email instantly to link to their ClickUp site. My advice to the next Secretariat: be on your toes. There's no time to rest. Rest is for the dead. Thank you.
My name is Mr. Kagiso Sodetsi, and I'm studying education. I'm in my third year level of study, and I'm holding the portfolio of external culture for House 3. As the external culture HCA, I'm responsible for promoting or rather organizing cultural or social activities within our residence, and to oversee all cultural activities provided by Stuku for our residents. Thank you. Responsibility as the external culture HCA is to promote or rather organize cultural or social activities for our residents, and to also oversee all activities provided by the student culture /Stuku. Thank you. Shame, it was very, very easy when I started because now all I had to do was to plan for InSync, get my subcommittee. So it was really chilled when I started. Nothing major, nothing hectic. I encountered a lot of challenges, but I just name one. With beginners, I expected InSync, I prepared for InSync, but they gave us beginners due to some circumstances. So the solution was to work with what was given. My subcommittee had not returned to rest, and some of them had already planned to leave our residence at large. So I had to work with my boys then and to make beginners a success. I had many challenges, but I just named one. With InSync or slash beginners, I had prepared for InSync. I expected InSync, but we had beginners because of some circumstances. So I was compelled to work with the first years to make the most out of the event. Thank you. To the next external culture AC, this is my advice to you. Be flexible. The norm may not be normal for you. Thank you.
Greetings, gentlemen of Hostrisano. I'm Chris Maponya. I hold the portfolio of Vice Chairperson Academics and Mentorship. Well, the portfolio is kind of self-explanatory. Vice Chairperson, there are duties of a Vice Chairperson, academics, also duties there, and mentorship program, you also have to do the duties. So as Vice Chairperson, I oversee portfolios allocated to me. Mentorship program, I have to find a team that I can work with to actually make a mentorship success for the first years that are coming. And academics it includes the whole house from first year to final year. You have to support them academically, so you must provide that support in any way that you can. Well, it was I was anxious. I moved from secretary to the portfolio vice chairperson academic. So when I came in, I was anxious, but I was excited because it was academic, something that I always wanted to do ever since I came to the residence. So it was I was motivated and I was inspired and all of those things. So I was anxious, but most importantly, I was very, very excited, and that has helped me to actually do a lot of things in the portfolio. Oh, the challenges that you face. Oh my God, this one I think most HC can actually attest to. This one is that the ideas, you'll have a lot of ideas, but not all of the ideas are practical. So, given the fact that you have only one term, you'll wish you have two terms to actually complete everything. But as soon as you start working on them, as soon as you write them down, as soon as you say, let me do one idea and the next idea, then it becomes better. Because I had a lot of ideas when you started. I was like, mentorship, this is what you're gonna do. So if you do and do it and do it, more work adds up and ideas get lost and so on. So I had to write it down. I have to give it a timeline to say, by the end of this month, I should be done with the study sessions. By the end of the next month, I should be starting with academic support program. And before we write the report, I should be able to go to support the person that I'm overseeing the portfolio. Before they write their plan of action, when there's an event, I should be able to assist them. So it was kind of writing it down and having to have good time management skills to say, this is what's gonna happen, this is what's not gonna happen. So keeping a good diary of what to do and what not to do does really help, and work on your implementation, because if it's idea alone, then it's kind of disappointing, but the moment you implement it, it becomes much better, then the house can benefit. Well, not much came as a surprise because I expected to be a lot of work, something that I cannot tackle, or it can challenge me and so on. But as time goes on, one thing that came as a surprise, but I was being aware of it, was doing teaching practicals. It was something else because you are away and you're a hacker, and when you come back, it's this and that. It was something that was not expected that much, especially given that first time when I did them, I managed to cope very well. But second time, it was a surprise because I dealt with it before. But I guess it's because I was first time I was in around Pretoria, around town, and the second time I was in a township, which is a bit far from the residence. Oh, to the next person who hold the portfolio of vice chairperson in academics and mentorship, break it down. Like the moment you get to an office, keep it in mind that it's vice chairperson, duties, and all of those things. Fulfill them. Keep it in mind that there's mentorship program which you have to do, and keep it in mind that the academics. So on the vice chairperson duties, work closely with the chairperson, support and guide those people that you oversee in the portfolio. And on a part of mentorship program, it's very imperative that you recruit mentors immediately when you get to office. You find a team that we can work with so that they can help you, your project becomes success. And on the part of academics, it's not so clear. So do not forget it because it's not so clear. When you start with the modules, help them with module choice, module registrations, be involved in finance and check how everything is like any other factor that affect academics and provide academic support to the house. First years get support from the mentors, they benefit from mentorship program. But as for the house at large, it's a challenge to support the house academically. So work on that one. Form a team, academic committee. I call it academic advisory committee. Meet weekly at least. That will help you. Meet weekly. It will be better. And plan everything with them. Work closely with your team, house committee members. Work closely with your other team, which is your subcommittee, academic advisory committee, which will help you to actually get a lot of things done. So you need all the work that you can do. As vice chairperson, it's a kind of a senior position, so have good delegating skills and do follow up, reflection, and all of those things. Thank you.
Our gents, I am Mr. Kagiso Soteti and I am studying education. I am in my third year level of study and I'm holding the internal projects portfolio for House Tirisano. My portfolio requires me to promote or rather organize events, cultural events to be specific, or social activities for our house, and also follow Stuku's timetables. Stuku means student culture. It was very difficult when I started because I had just been given this new portfolio from my predecessor, and it was challenging because I didn't know what to do and what not to do, but I got to maneuver through it. Thank you. My biggest challenge was the pandemic, COVID-19, because there was a point whereby all events had to be stopped. And I felt like having virtual events would not have the same effect as having contact events. But my solution was being able to host events that would take place both virtually and in contact. Be innovative. Nothing is impossible. If the contact phase virtually is only possible. Yeah. To the next person who's going to hold internal projects, please have fun. Be innovative. The sky is not the limit. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Caleb Nyati and I am a third year student under the Faculty of Education and I am the first year guardian at House Tirisano. My duties as a first year guardian is to ensure that the first years are integrated into the university environment quite well. I do this with the support of my team members who are part of the HC as well. When I started my term, it was quite tricky because I had to get a long list of first year students that had their contact details and you had to contact their parents as well. So I had to have my English bundles with me with all the phone calls that I had to make. But then it was quite easy because I had already started my training way before I even got the portfolio under the previous first year guardian who held the portfolio. The two biggest challenges that I faced as a first year guardian was making sure that my first years stayed together. But then through the many lessons and many events that were able to take place together as a group, we were able to create a brotherhood amongst the first years and that kept them together. And my second challenge was coming up with events during the pandemic. As you know, we've been facing different levels and the protocols, they prevented us from hosting so many other events as well. So on that side, we hope that the next first year guardian will have quite a smooth term with lower levels of the lockdown. The things that came as a surprise to me would first be the number of first years that came to the residence. I expected quite a large number as previous years, but then due to COVID protocol, the number was cut down quite short. Second to this, we received our first visually impaired student as a house, so I was not sure on how to handle that situation.
An important thing to note for the next first year guardian is that you will act as a parent to the first years, and as a parent you must know when to put your foot down and as well when to raise it. So another important factor that you'd have to consider is that you're going to be working with people from broken homes, people from disadvantaged backgrounds. So be prepared to work with people who come from a very vulnerable environment, and always carry the notion of equality. See people the same and don't see them as uneven individuals.